My roommate is moving abroad for the summer and has found someone to rent her room too, but I've just discovered the guy moving in is the guy I have a restraining order against. When I was a freshman in college, a guy named Pete, 21 meters, began harassing me to date him. I refused over and over again, and it ended with him ripping my shirt off at a party in an attempt to get a feel of my boobs. I filed a police report, and Pete was found guilty of assault. I have a 1,000-foot restraining order against Pete. Fast forward to this week, and my roommate Shelley needs a subletter to take over for her while she studies abroad for the summer. She didn't know she was leaving until 2 weeks ago and has been looking for someone to take over since then. She found Pete on Craigslist and asked me if I approved. I showed her my court documents, but Shelley claims she can't find anyone else to take over and that I will have to deal. We got into a heated argument, and she just left the apartment. This morning, Shelley texted me that Pete would be moving his stuff into the apartment today. I called the police, but Pete hasn't shown up yet, so they can't do anything. Shelley also says she will be staying for the remainder of the week. The lease says that she can move whoever she wants in without my permission, the same goes for me, but there's still the issue of the restraining order. The landlord told me that it was between Shelley and me to figure out. We both have 1-year leases that expire in December with the same terms. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Is Pete aware that you're the person he'll be sharing the apartment with? You might want to let him know that you'll be calling the police if he sets foot in the place. Response. Pete is aware that I'm the roommate because Shelley posted the ad with a photo of us both, without my permission. I already promised I would be calling the police, but Shelley is locked in her room and refuses to listen to me. I'm chilling by the door with 911 already pre-dialed. Comment 2. I agree with the consensus of calling the police the moment he arrives. Has he actually signed anything, like a sublet agreement? If so, he'll probably be on the hook to pay for an apartment he can't legally step in. Also, not a lawyer, but I can't imagine that attempting to enter a living arrangement with a person holding a restraining order doesn't violate the restraining order. The first question I would ask Pete if I were a cop/judge is, why did you think you could live there without violating the order? Response. Shelley claims that Pete has already paid her for all 3 months in advance and that he signed a contract with her. I told her that her contract does not override my restraining order, but she basically put her hands over her ears to drown out what I was saying. I plan on calling the cops the moment I see his car pull up, which is less than 1,000 feet. Shelley will still be here for the rest of the week, so I'm afraid this will escalate. Update. Hi everyone. I have added some extra details at the beginning to better explain what happened. Things took some M. Night Shyamalan twists. Shelley and I were not close friends. We were simply roommates with our own separate bedrooms and a connecting kitchen and living space. I've only known her since last December when we originally signed our leases. We've hung out, but the only real connection we had was that she likes anime and Japan and I am Asian. The Craigslist ad that Shelley posted didn't have a photo. It turns out that she had used a generic photo of the two of us in an ad on our college's Facebook page, but Shelley took it down before I got a chance to take a screenshot. After I made my post, Shelley was locked in her room for 3 hours. I tried to talk to her, but she wouldn't come out of the room. She left her room to get food and just walked past me as if I didn't exist. Everyone I called told me that, until Pete actually showed up, no crime was being committed, so I couldn't report it until then. I just sat by the door and window watching for Pete's car. This continued until early Saturday morning when Shelley woke up for her morning jog. I was still on lookout for Pete's car. I stayed up all night on the couch. Shelley tried to sneak out past me, but I woke up and blocked the door. I needed an explanation for why I was being forced to stay up all night waiting to call the police on Pete when she knew that I had a restraining order against him. Shelley's explanation was that the restraining order doesn't matter to her, that she's dealt with unreasonable people like me before, and that she's never listened to any restraining order before now, so why should she listen to mine? The more I listened, the sicker I felt. Shelley basically admitted to me that she is a class A asshole. I told Shelley that she was a real piece of work and that I was going to maintain my watch for Pete and would contemplate taking legal action. She told me that whether I liked it or not, she was done looking for subletters and that it was my problem. I told her to get out and go for her jog, and she left, returning a bit later to lock herself in her room again. Sometime around noon, I had accidentally fallen asleep because I had been awake for 36+ hours at that point. I woke up and saw Pete helping Shelley move her stuff into her car. I didn't see him in the apartment, but he was helping her in the parking lot. I immediately locked them both out and called the police. Shelley and Pete came to the door again, and when Pete saw it was locked and saw me watching from the window, he blew up at Shelley. He started to ask her why I was in the apartment and why Shelley didn't tell him that I was the roommate. He demanded his money back, and I could hear them screaming at each other through the door. The cops showed up, handcuffed Pete and Shelley. I told them my story, and Pete said he had text messages and emails to back himself up. The cops checked his phone and saw texts from Shelly saying something along the lines of her roommate wouldn't care about X, Y, Z because he's a chill guy. Pete had posted his own ad looking for a male roommate. That's right, Shelly is a liar too. The cops released Pete because he had proof that he didn't know it was me. I'm okay with this because I saw the emails and texts too. Shelly was charged with disorderly conduct, and her mom came to get her. Sunday evening, Shelly and her mom came back to the apartment to finish packing for her study abroad. Shelly made some snide remarks about me definitely going roommate hunting to find her a subletter, as I said I would. I ignored her. Shelly left for her plane this morning. You know the good thing about separate leases? I'm only liable for my rent, not hers. So I'm going to sit on my butt for the rest of the summer while she gets evicted for lack of rent payment.